Greetings once again, folks. Welcome to another Run 8 Train Simulator video, version 3, of course. We recently got a very large update. I mean, it is super chungus, to put in layman's. It took quite a while to update. It seems to update quite a few files within, I believe, a lot of your A-Line and Southeast operations as a whole, Waycross, Fitzgerald as well. But what came along with that, generally when we get these massive updates, we also get new content. And new content for the Southeast, and this Florida boy is all about it. We have got the famed and legendary, undying CSX Baldwin Yard just outside of Jacksonville. And this is it right here. You can get it on Run 8's website, as usual. I'll link it down below. And the patch notes, you can take a look at those as well. I'll link those down below to take a look at for yourself. Just a bunch of various things. Nothing, I don't want to say groundbreaking, but nothing that I'm going to cover. I'm just going to cover the CSX Baldwin bit and beyond, because it is not just a yard. It's a bit more than that. It's all points north, east, and west. Not so much south. That'd be the S Line, which, nudge nudge, wink wink, maybe we'll get one day. That would be very fantastic. This is what you get, though, the CSX Baldwin Yard. So what it does is this completes operations. So you had the A-Line, you had Waycross, you had all of greater Jacksonville, and you had this bit over to the west that kind of linked everything together, coming down from, you know, either Waycross, Nahunta, via the Callahan, and then going across the old Tallahassee Sub, which it is no longer, sadly. And then you could go down into Baldwin, and then even go on the Terminal Sub, which, of course, goes out towards the sprawling rails of Jacksonville. So this is the map. Of course, we're going to take a look at this here in a minute. Tells you all about it, everything you need to know, of course. And the price is $20. So that's the standard price, and I wasn't extremely thrilled about the price of, you know, because I was thinking, man, this is just a yard, it's 20 bucks. But it's not, and we'll get into that. So the sun is rising over the sleepy little hamlet of Baldwin, which could be considered greater Jacksonville. Jacksonville as a city is massive. I think it's the largest city in the U.S. in terms of city limit size, I think. It used to hold that title. I'm not totally sure if it still does. But it's headed down I-10 away from the Atlantic Ocean, so we're facing east here. And it's a very small town. It, of course, is in Duval County, Florida, which I may have gotten mixed up. Maybe the county is the largest in Florida. It's biggest something, I know that much. But the town was initially known as Thigpen, and it was named after the tavern owner at a stagecoach junction way back in the 1800s, 1850s, thereabouts. Now, the first railroad was built through here, obviously, and then two crossed right over. And the town was later changed to honor Abel Seymour Baldwin, who was the president of the Florida Atlantic and Gulf Railroad, which ran essentially from Jacksonville to Lake City. And then right up here, which we're coming across, is that junction to this very day. This is the Diamond at Baldwin. We've got a rack train headed north. Sadly, a lot of this is no longer with us, but the yard is still kicking. CSX has tried many times to kind of write off the Baldwin Yard. And, it's a shame because it was essentially one of the first yards in all of Florida, in the two initial railroads back in the day that weren't, just some short line over a couple of miles. But, yeah, the original yard was built as the FA and GC and the Florida Railroad lines intersected. That's what you have here today. One essentially went north and south, the other east and west, of course. And then eventually it became under Seaboard, which then turned into ex-Seaboard operation. And the yard was quite busy. It handled reefers from down south, vegetation, fruits, phosphate, from what's, now the S Line, which faces that direction. And then passenger trains. A lot of passenger trains came through here many times a day. The area, this area I'm talking about down here, kind of died off. In the kind of early 2000s, like 05 and on. And then R.J. Corman actually came through here and did a massive overhaul of this whole area, this whole interchange or this diamond between the four subdivisions. And I don't think this represents what R.J. Corman did for CSX, as they were hired, of course, because they double-tracked a couple of turnouts. They widened a couple of the turnouts for higher speed as well. And they put a double-track main line around the yard up there. That's Baldwin Yard, which is not there. So I'm going to take a stab and guess that this is like 2005 maybe. But essentially, you could really do anything before that. But sadly, I don't think this diamond is here anymore. It's been ripped up as the Tallahassee Sub, which is my hometown, Tallahassee, Florida, out to the west there on the Panhandle, where I was born and bred, basically. I used to see some traffic through there when I was younger, but it's definitely fallen by the wayside. I can't remember. I think Railroad USA or some kind of company owns it now. Which, CSX still has trackage rights, but, nothing really runs through there anymore, nor did it in the last couple of decades. You'd see the odd locals, a couple of coal trains. I remember a lot of coal trains running through, which was nice. But it's kind of just died. So looking west, which we're currently looking, was not busy around, the year 2000. It just slowly started dying off. So we'll kind of get our bearings here. Looking south, that again is Baldwin Yard. You can see Interstate 10 down there. It actually crosses right over the yard. And oddly enough, when the missus and I are on our way to see some of my family that still live up in that area, we always strategically happen to stop by a gas station up there just so I could maybe see if there's a little action going on while we let the dog have a wee, grab something to drink, so on and so forth, because the interstate goes right over it. It's had some massive widening projects over the years, and the interstate's huge now, the overpass itself is a lot larger than it was, but that's I-10 down there. It's east to the left, west to the right. But this is the Diamond. So obviously that is south. That is the S Line. That goes down to Tampa. The next biggest city headed down south that way down the S Line is, it's called the Wildwood Sub, but it's basically the S Line. It goes through Palatka. So that's the next biggest town. Nothing is down there presently. We'll go ahead and zoom on down there. I'm hoping that we'll see something in the near future. I know Jason, which, by the way, of High Rail Simulations, the third-party dev. Oh, we got a train lined up there, too. Nice. This is his stuff. This is his baby. All the southeastern CSX operations is all him. So, we'll see if the S-Line comes down the road. I very much would like that, because this may sound kind of stupid, but the S-Line is kind of like it kind of goes down the mountain ridge of Florida. Yes, that does sound dumb. Now that I uttered it, it does sound a bit ridiculous. Google it though if you'd like. Mountain ridge in Florida. This direction going south here goes through some of the prettiest countryside in Central Florida, and it's quite hilly. So it is an up and down pace, literally the whole way through. And a lot of it's double tracked, but I think it's mainly single, like the A line as well. But this is where it ends. Right now, you can see Jason from High Rail, after I'm done chewing on my tongue, has put down I guess a fun little scene here. These guys got a lot of work to do, a lot of brush to cut through. And boy, let me tell you, the brush down here is thick. So there's some stuff laying around here. This is where the S line would go. Looks like we're having a meeting in the office there. So we'll zoom back up here to Baldwin Yard, the namesake of the DLC. So the point of this is it fleshes out CSX Southeastern operations between Orlando and Sanford, coming up the A line through Jacksonville, and then over to Waycross, and then of course up through Fitzgerald. This was not here before, obviously. It is now. It adds a lot more operations. Baldwin is largely been known as sort of like an auto rack staging area. There's always a ton of auto racks that come through here, but there's also a lot of locals that come through here and switch out cars, swap cars, drop off cars. You'll have several trains coming up and down the S line, so on and so forth. So it's fairly busy. Over to the right is a very large steel mill. I mean, this place is massive. If you look at it on Google Maps or something, or if you've seen it before, it is absolutely massive. It is rail served. It is an industry. We'll pop on the industry tag here. There we go. Well, CMCC, I think. So it's, it kind of looks like the real deal. I wish some of the buildings were a bit larger and a bit more fleshed out. Maybe a couple of like smokestacks would have been nice. But it's laid out pretty much exactly how it is. I think you'll have some scrap coming in and out of here and rolled steel. But you've definitely got some stuff to work back in here if you'd like. Over here is the car shop. Zoom over here. So obviously work on cars, all that good stuff. The odd, slight engine repair. We've got a fuel truck over here to fuel stuff up, of course. Got a couple engines sitting in a shed. And then right up here is the yard office and tower, which look fairly faithfully recreated. I wouldn't say exactly 1000%, but it's close enough. And this is the lead to the yard up here, the ladder. This is I-10, or Interstate 10, of course, going east to west of this great nation as a whole. And I'll tell you what, man, if you've ever taken I-10 through the panhandle of Florida, it is boring as hell. You better have something to keep you entertained or highly caffeinated, because it's very boring. I've taken that road many a time. Right over here is it's an exit off the interstate, which I was talking about, that we strategically stop at because we always air quote need to get gas or something to eat or whatnot. There is a McDonald's there, absolutely 100%. There's a gas station here as well, and then there's a Burger King down here now as well. Over here you've got a Pilot, big old truck and fill up and rest spot. That is actually there. It's a legit Pilot. This is a hotel. It might have been a hotel back in the day. I'm not sure, but I think this is another gas station as well. But the yard looks really nice. It's kind of light in here right now. I mean, even to this day, I was last through here probably late last year around Thanksgiving, and it was pretty darn busy, and they were working. It was I want to say it was on the day before Thanksgiving. I can't remember, but it was fairly busy. There was a lot of stuff going on. So this is Baldwin. That's South S Line. We'll go back up to the Diamond. This way, obviously, is the Tallahassee Sub. I forget what it's called now. That extends, the technical Tallahassee Sub terminology extends to a little yard in Chattahoochee, which is right on the Chattahoochee River, which is what it's aptly named for. You go north, that is the Callahan Sub, which goes up to the Nahunta, which of course goes up to Waycross. So it's a bit of a shortcut. Stuff needs to come down from Waycross. They can take the shortcut through here instead of going across through the north of Jacksonville, so on and so forth. So that's where that goes. This, of course, flowing this way is the what's aptly named the Terminal Sub, serving all of the massive, sprawling yards and industries within and around Jacksonville. There are a ton. There's still some that I'm finding on this map to this day, since I've been playing around with some of High Rail's A-Line stuff, and it seems he has added some stuff as well, specifically around Taft. I'm not really going to get into that too much, but there's quite a bit more. I'd also like to add that he has been working with, I believe, someone that had some assets that used to work at Jointed Rail. I'm not sure if he still does anymore. But he has shared some assets to place down within a lot of this stuff. So I think a lot of the update, which you're going to have to run, if you buy this, you're going to want to run the update and then install this, adds a lot of new stuff, which is highly welcomed and very nice, of course. One of the things I've noticed is this grass over here. It's almost like a sawgrass or a wiregrass. I don't remember seeing this anywhere, but I do like this. I'd like to see a lot more of this in a lot more places. But it looks like Florida. It looks like swampy, scrub pine land, which this area essentially is. It's all swampland out here for the most part. But this is the Diamond as it sat with the tower. That, of course, is the Baldwin Interlocking Tower, which does have a tag on there, which is pretty cool. Got a dude really considering not going into work there perpetually. But that tower sadly is no longer here. I don't know exactly when they tore it down, but it was at least before 2013, because I think 2013 is when R.J. Corman came in and kind of just completely redid the area. So at the Diamond, we are facing west, the Tallahassee Sub, which stops, like I was saying, from Chattahoochee to Baldwin, or so it did. I don't know what it's called now. But we'll scooch down there. Who knows if it'll ever completely venture down there within Run 8. We'll see. It does have all the appropriate signs, which is nice. Begin Tallahassee Subdivision. And then end Jacksonville Terminal. Got all your whistle boards. Crossings, those do work. I've tested them out. Just messing around here. Very lovely signals still being used. But we've got a lot of new assets as well. I think a couple of cars look new. Trucks definitely. Some buildings. I tell you what, man. For Run 8... for me, it's obviously never been about things visually. It's always the operations and the multiplayer aspect. But with a lot of the the A line and the southeastern operations, it's kind of taken to a next level visually, and I like that very, very much. So we're headed west here, and there's actually quite a bit you can do down here. The first town is McClenny, which is actually larger than Baldwin. It's a fairly large town. It does get quite a bit hilly once you start heading west on the Florida Panhandle. And like I said, anyone that's ever driven it does get quite hilly. So it's almost like the Fitzgerald Sub in a sense once you head out this way. Looks like we got a train that spawned in at Sanderson. Very nice. It's like an IM. Technically back in the day, the only IM that you'd probably see coming down the Tallahassee Sub would have been coming from New Orleans, Louisiana, which would have ran this line, just basically, ferrying containers back and forth. But anyway, this is the first stop across the line. This is McClenny, Florida, which is just outside of Jacksonville and Baldwin as well. That's the first crossing. We've got one of the old gorgeous doll arm signals down here as well, which this line did have. I don't think any of them remain to this day, sadly. You've got this old kind of semi-disused track and this neat area down here with a little, kind of ag supply building and fruit packing building, which can be served. GFC, I think it's Gulf Fruit Company or Gulf Citrus Company or something like that. And then this over here. So this is kind of neat. This isn't what the station looked like technically, again, 1,000%. But it's neat to have. So there was an SCL station here because it did serve streamlined passenger service in the 40s and a little beyond, quite a bit, headed down through this way. But it's got the SCL logo on there, which is pretty cool. The only little thing I noticed, and not to be super nitpicky or anything like that, but McClenny is spelled wrong. It's 2 C's, and then there's no E there. So I drive by that area a million times, and I always thought the name was kind of weird. I think there's like a Dairy Queen or something on this exit, and that's why I remember the town name. But that is not spelled right, alas. I don't know if that's how it was spelled back in the day. It could have been one of those things. I don't know. There's stuff like that, throughout history. But it's neat to have. I think they relocated. This is obviously not here to this day. I think they relocated this to like a park down to the west of town a little bit. But it's a neat area. It's definitely some stuff you can do. A lot of these newer buildings are looking very nice. It's just updated. You can see some reefers or some trucks in the back of here going in and coming out. And we'll scooch on down here. There's actually a couple of crossings. This is kind of outside of town. This is the town right here. It's a fairly large town. You see you got your Napa Auto Parts and your Piggly Wiggly and your Crystal. You got your little church over there. I have no clue what all like JR style assets were added, but a lot of things do look new. There may not have been a lot of new stuff added with this update, but it may have been a lot of stuff taken from what was added in the Fitzgerald Sub and then added to everything else that's this CSX Southeast, which is pretty cool. Got your little post office over here and Firestone. There it is. Oh boy, Dairy Queen. Okay, maybe the Dairy Queen is here. I thought there was a Dairy Queen here. I remember we always stop here sometimes. Well, not always, but sometimes. Dairy Queen is very, very tasty. All right, we'll scooch on down a little bit further. We got a little, this is like a tributary of it's either the St. Mary's or the St. John's River. I don't remember which. It's definitely one of those two. So 50-50 chance there. So that looks nice as always. Got the old bridge going across. We'll scooch on down a bit as well. And I got to say, man, I just love, Jason, the guide High Rail, captured Florida in this area pretty damn well. From running Western Ops, and SoCal, I guess it's desert. I don't really know. I've never been. It kind of looks samey. But, as far as this, ever since I discovered the A line for Run 8 and started playing through that with the super tall pine trees, the pine forest, and the palm fronds, lining the tracks and pretty much any little road in the area, it does look like this. So I very much appreciate that. It's almost like a tree tunnel or a canopy, if you will. Think of it like that. Got plenty of markers, whistle boards, crossings where applicable. Next little town. I think the next little town is Sanderson. That should be coming up pretty soon here. We'll keep on swinging down. It's kind of far. It's several miles. I mean, shoot, it's probably 20 miles from Baldwin to Sanderson down here. I don't know exactly. It's also nice seeing stuff like this, you know, some new ties or old ties being replaced or ripped up, and some rail. Little things like that I like. Like, it's, you know, it's lived in, it's messy, it's not, you know, perfect, so to speak. We'll keep on zooming down. We'll get down to Sanderson. It's not that far. There's a big curve up here. We're underground. Here it is. So we are in Sanderson. So this is Sanderson Pipe Company. They make PVC. I'm not sure if it's an in or an out kind of deal. So I would have, you know, some of the like plastic pellet hoppers possibly in here. You can serve that. It's a fairly big industry. It's still here to this day, so it's legit. That's one of the things I like as well about a lot of the high rail stuff. Is it's real. Like, a lot of these companies and industries are legit. They are what you see in the game. They are in real life. So it's kind of easy to figure out what needs to be done, so on and so forth. And of course, you got the sign. It's legit Sanderson Pipe Corporation. So it's pretty cool that that's there as well. You got some stuff back here. Then over here, we got industrial wiring. So they make kind of like spool wire, like high tension wire type stuff. I'm not totally sure what you'd throw down here as well. You know, but obviously some thralls, maybe some low-sided gondolas or something like that. But that place is there as well, which is very cool. So you got a couple of places. You got at least 3 industries down here you can serve. You got some sidings. A little microwave radio tower with the bungalows. I love seeing these bungalows. Those are cool. Complete with a CSX property signage. And it should dead end down here, and then I'll save you the time of going back to Baldwin. We'll skip on down there. It's got stop signs. This is the first time I'm seeing this, so it's pretty funny. Stop sign. All right, let's go back to Baldwin. Go another direction. All right, we are back at the Baldwin Diamond. We're facing south. Something else I'd like to note. You know, I don't set out to find negatives per se. I just notice things, have my likes, just like anybody, right? The sign obviously was misspelled, or at least I'm sure it is. But the other thing that I'm not fond of, which I think started with the Fitzgerald sub, may have been sooner, is the ambient sounds. Some of the ambient sounds of traffic and things like that when you get near town are super loud. They always seem to kind of overpower everything else. I wish if I knew there was a way to tone that down, which I would do myself. But it would be nice if that was, you know, tweaked down just a little bit. It seems a little overpowering at times, and then it loops every couple seconds. I know I complained about it during the Fitzgerald video as well, because when you get in Cordeal, it's like all you hear is this, you know, motorcycle revving up in these cars like every 10 seconds, and it just, you know, it kills some of the other ambiance. But anyway, facing back south, already went over that. We just went down that way, which go to Tallahassee. And then we're going to face northerly now, which is actually going to cross Baldwin. This crossing up here is known to piss off many of Baldwinians, as trains, I don't know if they still do, probably so with precision schedule crap, but trains used to sit here for hours. And you know, you'd see news stories about it, and, you know, greater Jacksonville and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, train coming. Where's that train coming from? Who dat? All right, let's just soak in the view here for a minute, shall we? That guy's over there still contemplating going to work. Let's see where this guy's going here. Oh, he might be going into Baldwin. Matter of fact, we got somebody coming out of Baldwin too. Hot damn! Oh, did he stop? He stopped. We got somebody coming out of Baldwin. Let me double check, make sure I got auto set up. Yeah, I do. Let's look at the map. It's a good time to go ahead and look at that. So this is your new map page for the Baldwin bit of southeastern ops. It's kind of weird because it's a north, south, east, west kind of deal. So obviously this line in the middle is east and west, and then the one that kind of zigzags across the top and bottom is north and south. We'll look at that in a minute here. Oh, here we go. We got a coal train coming across. Gonna pound the diamond. Very nice. All right, let's go ahead and head north. So it's more just very nice tree-lined canopial. Is that a word? Canopy? Canopy style goodness. You've got a couple of sidings, and there's a couple of industries up here as well. And I think a little bit of kind of a MOW spur, if necessary. It's slightly hilly as well, but this is largely swampland and farmland up here, as is a lot of this, you know, anywhere outside of Jacksonville. There's a big cove up to the right. Let's get on up here. There's another siding. There we go. So this is a pulp manufacturer right here. So this is something you can work. I think the train, geez Louise, train probably from Sanford up to Waycross. I think there's a daily turn that goes Sanford to Waycross, would maybe work this area. I'm not totally sure with the new, I kind of know older CSX symbols better than newer stuff. But you could definitely do some pulp stuff here. So some chip gons, possibly. And then you've got some maintenance away stuff going over here, I think. There's something here. I'm not sure what that is, matter of fact, but that's pretty cool. Little setup there. It probably is. You got a little porta pooper over there. Is there anything funny in there? We've got to check. Nope, just a toilet. Toilets aren't funny. Got some trucks, some rails. That's maintenance away ops, obviously. Let's head on up towards Georgia, because we are right on the Florida-Georgia border. And the Georgia border is actually kind of to our north. Oh, another train. Nice. He is definitely headed up to Waycross, shuttling some racks up there. Uh-oh, this ain't good. What's this guy doing? So this is the end of the Callahan sub, if I'm not totes mistaken. Of course, you've got your signs denoting that. Begins the Nahunta, ends the Callahan. So this right here is the Nahunta, and this will go up to Waycross. Why is this guy stopped? So a lot of this already existed. We'll just, okay, yep, looking the wrong way. A lot of this already existed pre this update and add-on. Yeah, he's at a red. Good deal. Okay, I thought something was wrong with my save or something. So yeah, this cat ain't going anywhere fast with the autoracks. You got your defect detector pad down there and equipment. So that's where the end of this essentially ends. So again, it's a lot of miles. So again, it's not just Baldwin Yard. You got like 20 miles going towards Tallahassee, and then you got so I think it's about 20 miles coming up here too. So all right, we'll go ahead and head back to Baldwin now, and then we will finally go east towards Jacksonville. Still got this poor boy waiting to clear the diamond. Looks like he is going into Jacksonville. We'll go ahead and start headed that way. So we, of course, now are facing westerly, and there is quite a bit to do. If you're into like locals and serving industries and stuff like that, this is definitely, you know, gonna be your thing. As it is mine. I've still only scratched the, the very basic surface of anything in this whole Jacksonville area. I mean, between all the yards and industries, it's a maze. It is literally a maze, but there's a ton to do. So one of the first things you're going to come across right up here is a Winn-Dixie distribution center, which is actually legit. For those that don't know, Winn-Dixie is obviously a supermarket, grocery store. And this place is here. It is legit. I don't think the rails are here anymore. I think they might have been ripped up. So you could definitely do boxcar, reefer, what have you. That over there is a power station branch, which is actually there. The name of it eludes me. I cannot remember it presently, but it's a fairly large power station. Right up here, this big field here is actually a dairy farm as well. You know, there could maybe be a couple of buildings in that area. Maybe that's what that's supposed to be. I think it is. But yeah, it's a very large dairy farm right there. We'll keep on heading westbound. There's quite a bit down here. That's an old little ripped up spur back there. Maybe just a derailer. This is... gosh. This is a north and south road. I think this was before... Jeez Louise. Old man brain moment. Gosh almighty. I think it's SR-23, which SR State Road. I think this is when SR-23 was being built. So this is definitely not supposed to be extremely modern, obviously. But it's cool to see this. Instead of just not having anything here, it's like a construction scene. And in Florida, road works and construction never ends, especially around Jacksonville. It is not fun driving around Jacksonville on 95 or 295 or what have you. So that is very, very much appropriate. The next thing up here should be the White House. White House is the name of the little town right here. West Fraser. I think it's a pulp mill. You've got a little place right here. I'm not sure what this is, but that's another industry there. It definitely looks like something with some kind of agriculture, some ag service, ag industry. But this is the West Fraser White House mill right here, which would probably be pretty busy. I think there are still tracks that come into here to this day. So you could definitely serve that with quite a few cars. That's a nice little spur there. What is this one? WPI. Definitely something else to do with wood. I think it's plywood. So you could throw some box cars or some center beams in here as well. I believe that's new as well. Because the Publix, which, again, any Floridian or anybody that's been to Publix in Florida knows that they have got the best sandwiches and subs and bakery on the planet. I would fight to the death over that statement. But that's right up here as well because there's a massive Publix distribution center. Got some sort of steel scrapper right there as well. We'll keep on scooching down. Here we have the Insane Clown Posse. ICP, I don't know what that is. Definitely, something else, a box cars, reefer, something like that. And there's Publix. Publix Distribution Center. Publix is just quintessentially Florida. I know it's in, I think there's some in Georgia now and maybe even Alabama and beyond. I don't know. But I love my Publix. I live in a small town and we have 2 in my town. It's insane. But we've got these very beautiful Publix reefers. Thermo King. So it's legit stuff, man. It's not just some fake thing on there. That's an actual company that makes reefers for truck trailers and rail cars, I think. But Publix Distribution Center can definitely bring some reefers up here and do some work. And then we'll keep on heading down here, and we should fly over I-295, which is the expressway around Jacksonville, the land of Durst. Let's see. Yeah, that's it right there. So that's I-295. Whenever I drive in and around Jacksonville, I get on 295 because it's a lot less of a pain in the ass than 95. But people still drive crazy as all get out. So right here, you've got a Y, and we got a train rolling up in there as well, because up that way, up to the north, is Jacksonville Ramp. Now, that is not new. We'll just go ahead and scooch up there just to show you, just in case you don't have any of this stuff. Big intermodal facility or terminal. There's nothing really here right now. I didn't really set up this this file for a lot of stuff. I had one, but I had to go back and delete it and put some new files in, so I'm still working on getting my world populated. So that's the Jacksonville intermodal ramp right there, which is fairly busy. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to mention, when we were up in the I guess I went right over it at blazing speed like I do with my bad camera work here. We went over the Valdosta district, Norfolk Southern Valdosta district, which is Norfolk Southern's line into Jacksonville. So that's another diamond you've got up on the Callahan sub. I just completely glazed over that. Sorry. So the Norfolk Southern line does cross over up there, and then that way is Jacksonville, and just a whole mess of stuff, which I just do not have time to go over in this video. That's like its own thing. There's so much. It's like a Where's Waldo, industry version, and it's insane. So let's go ahead and head back to Baldwin, and we'll kind of talk about what can be done and what Baldwin is for. Alrighty, so back in Baldwin, of course, there's a mess of stuff that you can do. Just make sure you've got the correct industry file set. I believe there is... Jeez, I always forget the dang key. That's not right. That's not right. There we go. Industry config. I went through like 50. I'm still learning the the commands to run 8. It is endless. You never stop learning with run 8. It is insane. So there's all the industries, and you're going to import industries, and then you've got your Baldwin config right there, which you're going to want to put in, and then just pop select, and your gravy. And then of course you've got your train spawner, which is shift F2. There we go. AI traffic generation. So this is all the trains in the vicinity set up right now, and then of course you can just spawn as many as you want, to make this area in particular busy. But one of the big things you can do with Baldwin and going through Baldwin is they've got a name for it, like a lot of hoggers have names for certain turns and stuff like that. But it's basically the Waycross or Wax Baldwin job, which is daily traffic for Tallahassee, Baldwin, Stark, which Stark is, of course, that's south of here down the S line that way. And then Orlando, and then racks for Jacksonville Terminal, which of course go back to the east towards the sea that way. So you've got that. You can do that. There is a Q train that works Rand Yard, which is in Sanford. So that's also on this, part of this whole map. If you're not familiar with High Rail Simulation Southeast Operations, it goes from Orlando, up the A line, through just about dang near all of Central Florida, and then, the far eastern side up to Jacksonville, and then over to the west, which is where we are, and then up to Waycross, and then up to Fitzgerald. So it is a almost complete network. Like, it's just huge. It's almost like when you stop and start thinking about space and space stuff, it's just like unfathomable. But anyway, that's just for tiny brains like me. So you can do a Q train, which works Rand Yard, which is in Sanford, which will come up to Baldwin, which is where we're at, obviously, and switch, cut off some cars, take on some cars, and then run up to Waycross, which is the direction we're facing. That runs empty racks, which is what this yard is mainly known for, is rack storage. up to Waycross, and then I think that train will work, or get rid of some stuff at Waycross, and then it'll go all the way to Montgomery, Alabama. So you got that you can do as well. So there's quite a few trains. You're just gonna have to figure out what kind of era you want to go with, within the game, or sorry, the sim, that you want to run, and just have fun, man. That's the thing about Run 8. It's, Run 8 is your oyster. You can do whatever the hell. You can run seaboard stuff on here if you wanted to, you just set it up like that and you're good to go. But Baldwin really fleshes out the area and the operations within the area. I'm excited to see what comes next. There are so many places that High Rail can go with this. We can go south, S Line, which would be epic. Down to, going down to Tampa and like Plant City and all that. Man, that would just be, that'd be like Jacksonville Part 2, basically. It's massive. You go up to, I'd love to see some Brunswick action, although I know a lot of that is Norfolk Southern. I'd really love to see the bit that goes to Fernandina. There's a little interchange, which Fernandina is the little island. It's kind of like a barrier island in between the river and the Atlantic Ocean, at the very northeastern tip of Florida. And I think there's a small interchange out there with CSX, that I think it's Florida's first. I can't remember the name. It's just short line. It's G&W short line. I've seen some of their trains visit in Fernandina, but it's a beautiful area, and a lot of the trackage runs across, low country marsh and rivers, and it's just absolutely stunning. And there's quite a few industries up there as well, in a little town called Yulee. So I'd love to see something go out to Yulee and Fernandina. That'd be very cool as well. But there's so much that can be done. Again, as a lot of the High Rail stuff, it was faithfully recreated. The fact that it was $20, it was kind of hard for me to deal with that at first until I started looking around. So I was like, man, a yard for $20, but it ties a lot of stuff together. We got a lot more new assets, and it's just, I get the feeling this is just beginning. We just got Fitzgerald. God, not even a year ago. It wasn't even 6 months ago, was it? And now we got this. So I mean, it can go any which way, any direction. But that's it for now, guys. Hope you found the video informative. Got to see a bit about Baldwin and what came with it and beyond. If you were interested in the area and southeast operations. But that is it for now. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.